Hello, 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 and welcome to the pop-up shop inside the Novitas Spa Medical Rejuvenation Clinic. I'm sorry we're a few minutes late because it took longer to set all of this up and have everything we wanted to show you one of the dressing rooms of the Novitas Spa, and also where, dressing rooms and commode, and so public area but also private to change for your infrared sauna, your steam, and everything that goes on and the magic happening in the spa. We decided that this week we're going to film inside the spa. Yesterday I was out on the street and was standing in front of the monitor that plays inside the boutique 24/7 for people to see what I call the evolution. It's called Evolve. And it starts in 92, when I started my first brand, Glycolique, and then evolved into Novitas Spa Clinicals in 97, and then the spa here in Georgetown, Texas in 2005. So we have been evolving, and then in 13 adding medical. The only thing that's not on that video is the regenerative stem cell therapy. So as I said, I have been a product researcher and developer since the early 90s, or really late 80s, when I took the job with Alcon Laboratories in Fort Worth, Texas. And I was the National Sales and Marketing Director for a division of theirs. They had purchased a hairline that was like a Niox and a Rogaine, NDC coated, and they wanted to repackage and reposition the line, and I was able to hang out with very sophisticated chemists, and that's one of the reasons I took that job, because I had known in my spirit since I was in my early 20s that someday I was going to create something, meaning cosmetics or beauty, and that's in my book, Hope and Possibilities Just Over the Horizon. But I knew early on that my passion was creating. But then, as time went on, I realized my purpose was really assisting others to find their passion, to find their purpose, and to help them actualize that. And that I shared a little bit about that on Monday out on the Georgetown Square in front of the window where the monitor is playing. And we have a better picture of that, and if it isn't up on Facebook, it will be, showing that monitor that's in the window. So when the people walking by during these weeks that we're not here can look inside, beyond the Tuscan wall. So we'll go into the boutique Thursday, and I'll tell you about that later. But we'll show the Tuscan wall and the boutique and what goes on in the boutique of the Novitas Spa Medical Rejuvenation Clinic. But today I'm going to continue on the pop-up shop information, Physiology 101 of skin, and then skin care. And yes, I'm going to be using the Novitas Spa clinical products, but these products, the information that I'm going to be sharing is really information that you should own, and then take it to the cosmetic counter, or now online, or QVC, or home shopping, or anything where you're purchasing things now. Love you to try the Novitas Spa clinical products. Oh, I forgot to bring in our Miracle Experience Kit, but I'll show that to you tomorrow, or Thursday when we do the next pop-up shop. But I wanted to share a little before I go into reiterating what we talked about last Thursday and Friday in the pop-up shop, about the skin, and then about the health of the skin and so forth, and what to look for. But I was preparing for this morning, and I was listening to Glenn Lundy, Rise and Grind, and I was listening to he sharing about the quote of the day. And as I commented to Glenn that it is such synergy of what I'm speaking about and what those quotes are, and then my daily devotional. It's just so, it's a God wink. It is so reassuring that God is with us in the middle of this storm. These quotes, Glenn, are just so synergistic with what is going on. And would you and Leslie have known that the end of last year? Absolutely not. And so it is about walking in faith. Hope, and that is my, hope is the energy. It's the catalyst for faith, because faith is knowing, that knowingness, that hope in knowingness, that things without seeing. And so basically we are walking in faith, not by sight, because we don't know. But we do know that the Lord is with us. And He is with us, and that is the reassuring aspect. And the quote for today on Rise and Grind, and if you don't have this planner, you need to get it and go to glenlundy.com. But it is, let's see, I'm buying my sinks here in the restroom. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And that is Joshua, by the way, 1:9. So be strong and courageous. Not be terrified. Not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. And yesterday's quote was, the struggle is the gift, and the pain is the incubator of our purpose. So basically speaking, it is about that owning that strength and courage, as the scripture said today, but knowing that you're not alone. And I was it's just taking me back. You know, we're so busy, and yes, I reflected on a lot of this in writing my book, but it's an overview, and then I'll be getting into the 3 C's in the next book, Building Hope and Possibilities, which is clarity, courage, and commitment. But courage is knowing, and it is knowing that you're not alone. And in 2007, in 1997, when that calamity happened, and it's too long to go into, but basically the company I sold the Glycolique to was purchased, and I was buying Glycolique back. And the new company then, at the end of this buyback, and I had completed the transaction, I had paid them for the complete sum that we contractually had agreed upon, and they decided at a boardroom meeting, why are we selling this Glycolique? And they did what's called a hostile takeover. But I didn't know this was happening, and this is what I reflected upon this morning with what Glenn was sharing. And I reflected upon that how I found out that this was happening is that they were calling all the distributors and telling them, the beauty distributors, and telling them that they had taken over or they owned Glycolique, whatever they said. But the weekend before, Jose Santiago, who owned Exotique Beauty Supply in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and they distributed Matrix products throughout the Caribbean, he called me personally. Now, how did he have my phone number? He had my phone number because he flew a trainer to Texas for me to train that person to then help train his people at Exotique with Glycolique. That is how he had my phone number. And he called me. I was inside my home waiting for this transaction to be complete. Everything was in place that I would then take back my baby and move on. And he called me and he said, Megan, in his wonderful accent, he said, Megan, hello, this is Jose Santiago, Exotique. What is going on? I just got a call from XYZ company. And that's how I found out. But then this young lady called me that I had trained that weekend. And she said to me, Miss Megan, please, please stay with me. I got so much from this training. Actually, she and I went to a trade show in I think it was Lubbock, Texas, if I remember correctly. Took her there. And because it was a trade show, I wanted her to see how to set it up and how to perform it and how to support the salons in the, not only Puerto Rico, but in the Caribbean islands. And so she said to me, don't stop. But it was so daunting. I didn't know what I was going into. I had no clue. And again, in this next book, I'll go into this. But I've shared this many times, and I'm going to share it again. That weekend was Memorial Weekend of 1997. And I was in my little office, and I picked up, it's a very similar time right now. I was quarantined. I was kind of in my house, praying and walking around, trying to figure out what to do. It feels very similar. And I took this little book, and which was a Catholic prayer missal. That's what it said on, not prayer, mass missal, or mass, with the word missal too. And as a little girl, I grew up a Catholic, and so went to Catholic Mass every day. Had not looked at this book forever. In the front page, it had the year of my communion, which was 1957. And I opened it up, and in it was a note card. And this note card said, "The call to new beginnings is ringing in the air. It's reaching through the mist of circumstances everywhere. Stand tall, take the first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you." Psalm 37. It could have been signed Papa God, because I would always say, as I was speaking at classes or workshops or keynoting, listen, God is still speaking. He would fax you. That gives you the time element. He would fax you if he could. Well, Papa God said to me, stand tall, take the first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you. Psalm 37. Why Psalm 37 was so significant, meaning I was sitting on the floor, didn't fall on the floor, but was sitting on the floor, and I read that, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I then laid down on the floor and talked to God. But why it was so significant is that in March, when I could see that there was major challenges arising, because they should have released it right then, but they didn't. So I had to hire an attorney. Again, long story. And as I was in those winds, let the winds blow and not in them. But I'm in this world. I'm not of this world, but I'm in this world. And I hired an attorney that someone else in the beauty industry had used. And again, there's a lot of supernatural dynamic around that. But so in March, when I came back from the Midwest and the New York Beauty show, the IBS, so they're back to back, I had hired this man, and I was sitting in my home, and I sat and prayed and said, Lord, give me a word. And I opened the Bible to Psalm 37. Now, it's a very long chapter, but the verse that jumped out at me is, trust him, lean on him, know that he is there. And so when I opened this note card, which, by the way, was a print of a watercolor of sitting on a porch looking out to the ocean, white wicker furniture, and it was typed. And it was signed Psalm 37. So the call to new beginnings is ringing in the air. It's reaching through the circumstances everywhere. Stand tall, take the first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you. Psalm 37. But my purpose has been to help that young lady. I think her name was Diana. But regardless of her name, she was so impactful. I was listening to T.D. Jakes today on Glenn Lundy's Rise and Grind. Go to his page and follow Rise and Grind. This morning I slept in a little bit. I'm going to stop that habit because I don't want to, let me say it this way, I'm going to stop that behavior because I don't want to create a new habit. When I came back from Tulum, I wasn't feeling well. This corona thing was beginning to blossom. I wanted to make sure that I was okay, so I needed sleep, because generally I don't need a lot of sleep. And so I started building this new habit, which I don't want, of not getting up at 4 o'clock and watching, or 4:15, and watching and participating. Let me just say that, participating with Rise and Grind, Glenn Lundy and all my Rise and Grind family. And so tomorrow, guys, I'll be there. I watch it every day, and I acknowledge that I'm watching it, but it's, during the day or in the evening, but I do watch it every day, and I get so much from it. But the synergy, the world is aligning, guys. God has, it's a reset. It's going to, and God is resetting the world, not just the United States, the world. And this is a network of prayer that's going out to the world. The call to new beginnings is ringing in the air. It's reaching through the mist of circumstances everywhere. Stand tall. Take the first step. The second and third step will be revealed to you. Psalm 37. And just know that he is with us, and that everything that you're experiencing is that challenge is building your purpose. It is that strength of that. This is our quote, which was in Rise and Grind last Wednesday. The struggle is the gift. And you don't look at it as when you're in it as a gift. But I recognize that I would not be who I am. I was listening to Bob Donnell last night, and he was sharing a story about, and he's another person you should, I just met him online, so I haven't memorized all of his things, but I'll mention him again in my text and his information. But he shared a story about this guy that had lost all his limbs, his arms and his legs, and he was asked, if you had the opportunity to just supernaturally get back 2 of those limbs, which ones would you choose? 1 arm, 1 leg, because he had prostheses on. And he said, none. He said, because I wouldn't be me, and the journey that has created me, I would not ever not want this opportunity to have had that. I'm not saying the way he said it, but the bottom line is that it's the growth in the gift is that struggle, and the pain is the incubator. And so the essence of that experience that I just shared with you, and then listening to T.D. Jakes, when I started Glycolique, it was not about fame. It was about the fact that I knew it was time to share information of skincare that I had been so blessed to learn and receive and understand. And it was time to take it to the market. During the 80s, and I was privy to this in the beauty industry as the nail industry, long before the Asian market got involved. But as Dr. Nordstrom through Creative Nail and other dental companies got involved in the nail industry, you could see that education. You could see that they had to train the cosmetologist to do these amazing nails. The acrylic nails. And again, this before gels and everything that has transpired from that, or evolved from that, for reasons, for needs, and so forth. But anyhow, it started with education. It's about education. It's about training. And so I was very, very fortunate to see that. My my family's company, we developed a nail towel for the industry called the table towel. I met George Schaefer, who owned OPI, and he was a dental distributor, came into the nail industry, and he had a powder and acrylic line long before he had his nail polish line, which became his niche. But anyhow, I was privy to the evolution of that industry, and someday I'm going to write a beauty history, and also it'll be tied together with my program called the Postgraduate Master's Program, but that's a whole different story. But the point of why I'm sharing this is that I never set out to start these skincare lines because I wanted to be famous. I'm not famous, but it's about your need and help with education. And over years, when I first launched Glycolique, it was very clear, like that young lady said to me from Puerto Rico, please don't stop, I need you, I just started, I learned so much, please keep going. Now, no one really knew other than that woman at that moment what was going on. But as time went on, and I created Novita, meaning when the Lord said, get going, I stood up and called my chemist and said, let's start. And that was Memorial Weekend, and we went to the conference and launched Novita Spa Clinicals in August of 1997. Novita, new birth, new life, always something new. That's my promise. So my promise is to always stay focused and to stay aligned with my purpose, which is education, training, motivation, inspiring, helping people to grow and be the best they can be in anything and everything they do. So quickly, I didn't plan on talking about this, but as I was listening to Glenn and then T.D. Jakes this morning, I just became overwhelmed with memory of this. And why am I in this bathroom doing this for you is to really give you information, because there's so much mis and disinformation about skincare. And oh, by the way, I have my Rise and Grind hoodie on, which I love. It's very cozy, and I wear it all the time. And after this, I'm going to be going out and walking around the square again, and I'm going to find a quiet place where I can write and create, because that's what feeds my soul. But in the bathroom here, I want to share about cleansing. But I'm just going to recap last week. Skincare 101. The skin is the largest organ of the body. We don't think about it that way. We think about it as the man suit. I lost 5 pounds, I gained 10 pounds, I have dry skin, It's an organ. And this organ interfaces with all of your other organs. That's why when I am reading an intake form of a person that I'm going to be working on, I could not touch anyone's skin if I did not study about them, what medication they're on, what other dynamics are going on, because the skin is the largest organ of elimination. So what goes in must come out. What you eat, drink, don't drink, medication, stress, hormones, pollution, everything affects the skin. Why do they say today to wash your hands? And I do the Our Father or the Hail Mary when I'm washing my hands, and not to touch your face, because your hands pick up things, germs and viruses, and then the porous skin takes it on. But that nasal passage is where this virus seems to be transmitting into the body and then into the lungs. So, before I wash my hands, so basically, the skin is the largest organ of the body, the largest organ of elimination. What goes in must come out. Now, but we're all cells, and we have cell turnover every 30 to 90 days. And why the variance? Because it slows down as you get older, as everything else does. And so what's very critical is exfoliation. Exfoliation is vital for the function of the skin. So what do I mean by that? If I took a piece of tape and took your cells, so to speak, and put them under a microscope, and you and I looked at them together, the top layer of the skin is called the epidermis, and the epidermis is made up of several layers, and the top layer of the epidermis is called the stratum cornea. Wish I had a diagram here. And the stratum cornea is the protective layer that God created to protect the body and to have that layer of protection. But that's where cell turnover happens. And in that period of time, if you do not whisk away, so to speak, those dead skin cells, then they're only going to build up on that top layer. Now back to that slide of your cells. It looks like the stratum cornea looks like brick and mortar with thousands of little holes. And the brick and mortar is the intercellular glue, and that intercellular glue builds up like a wall and covers over those thousands of little holes, which are your pores. And the pores help with circulation, but they will clog with dead skin cells, the debris of the day, your own sebum, and it will clog the pore. People come in here who've never, I say never, have exfoliated, and they have whiteheads. Whiteheads are calcified sebum in the pore. They're like hard as a rock. They say, can you remove these? Well, versus a blackhead is oxidized sebum, so that's calcified, hardened, oxidized sebum turning black. And so if it hasn't built up and built up and built up, you can do extractions, but you can also exfoliate, and we'll talk about that in the course of our pop-up shops. But the extraction is a lancet, and it's a little aggressive, so it really is not necessary if you do daily exfoliation. Last week I also shared that there are 2 types of exfoliation. On that intake form that a client, patient, guest fills out, it says, do you exfoliate? And if they say yes, and then it says what type, or not what type, but what do you use, generally they'll say some sort of scrub, some sort of mechanical exfoliation. And so people perceive that exfoliation is mechanical. Mechanical exfoliation is anything from a jojoba bead to microdermabrasion crystals. So it buffs and polishes that wall, but it doesn't dissolve that gunk in your pores. It just buffs and polishes. Chemical exfoliation are fruit acids and enzymes, and they dissolve that gunk, so to speak. In our line, we have our Take That Mask Off enzyme mask of pineapple and papaya, and that dissolves that, but it also is a very gentle firming mask, not a hardening, drying mask, but a firming mask, and so it dissolves, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. But there's two types of exfoliation, mechanical and chemical. Now, people will say, oh, I don't wash my face at night. I just plop down on the, in bed or on the couch, and that's it. And I get it. Trust me, I get it. I mean, I do want to do nothing more than when I get home at whatever time that is. But the skin, which is the largest organ of the body, repairs itself while you sleep. Sweet dreams. That's why, and rise and shine. But that is why it is imperative to cleanse your skin at night. You don't have to do a lot, but cleanse your skin and then put on simple ingredients that I'll share about. But cleansing is vitally important. So in the Novital line, for the health of the skin. So in the Novital line, our core facial essentials, which are for all skin types, from normal to dry to oily, acne-prone skin. I hope we didn't turn that light on, but hopefully this is bright enough for you guys. But this is where I said I wish I had brought in our Miracle Experience Kit, which is a 2 to 3 week try me of the core facial essential system. But the system itself was designed from an AM/PM concept. It also was designed, and this is one of the very unique, really historic, pioneer-oriented things of Glycolique in 1992, was that it was for all skin types, from normal to dry to oily, acne-prone skin, because everyone needs to cleanse their skin, everyone needs to do chemical exfoliation, and everyone needs to have hydration balance. And so it's a simple, safe, synergistic system for all skin types. We say anyone from 8 to 108 who has skin. So prepubescent, puberty, on and on and on. It's never too late, just as the subtitle of my book. It's never too late or too early never too early or too late to create the life of your dreams. Well, it's never too late or early to start good skincare practices. And it really does start with cleansing the skin. So, to be safe, I'm going to cleanse my hands. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, and deliver us from evil. Amen. So, I'm going to dry my hands. And this morning, I just put on a little eye makeup. So I'm going to take both Rise and Shine and Melt Away, and I'm going to share a little bit about them. Rise and Shine, I actually don't use in the AM. I'm going to give you a little history story about Glycolique. Glycolique had a cleansing product that people adored. It was and it is this product. It was a gelée consistency with beads in it. So mechanical exfoliation in it. When I re-engineered Glycolique in 97 and launched it that summer with Novitas Spa Clinicals, one of the things I said to my chemist is I wanted to broaden the line. I had many 4 years of information that of what people were asking for. And one of the things that people were asking for was a cleanser to remove eye and facial makeup. So I keep this in my shower. This is a great body exfoliant. It is that, as I said, a gelée, very rich and luxurious consistency. But when we re-engineered to Novitas Spa Clinicals, we created what I call the ABC complex, and that is our proprietary blend of alpha, beta, stabilized vitamin C, and that is that chemical exfoliation, and that dissolves that thickened epidermis. Beta hydroxy, which is salicylic acid, is also very good for stabilizing sebaceous gland production, and it helps with minimizing pore size. So everything has a job in its formula. But as I said, this is Rise and Shine, and many people adore this to start the day off. Many people use this AM, PM, especially people that don't use makeup, which I do. I use my Mineral Cosmetics. So but this is basically really a 3-in-1 cleanser, a Rise and Shine, meaning that it cleanses, it mechanically exfoliates, but it also chemically exfoliates with the ABC complex and some enzymes. So this is a really active product, but very balanced product. All of these products are fragrance-free. Fragrance is one of the most known sensitizing ingredients or agents in products. When people say, and I went into this with my first pop-up shop a little more in depth, I'm not going to go there today, but when people say they have sensitive skin, it more than not is because they've used products that were imbalanced and had fragrance and really just irritated their skin. Unless they know specifically things that they're allergic to, these products are extremely balanced, but they are fragrance free. We use European cold pressed botanicals, which are not mass produced heat pressed botanicals. This is a clean line, and I'll mention that in a little bit. Okay, so this is Melt Away. This is an amazing product. It is so popular. It is gentle enough to remove eye and facial makeup, neck, chest, hands. As I say, go on down south. Don't stop right here. Always cleanse and put your products on your neck, chest, and hands. Because hands are the first, that and the crow's feet area, the eyes are the first area of showing age, so to speak. But this is gentle enough, but again, it has our ABC complex, our proprietary ABC complex, so it also exfoliates chemically the skin. And then it has major humectants that are hydrating ingredients, so it leaves the skin dewy soft, not squeaky clean. So I'm just going to turn on some water again. And now in 2013, we re-engineered these products. And what do I mean by that? Basically speaking, when things in the marketplace state to me, I have to pay attention. And one was parabens, which are preservatives, and also lauryl sulfate, which are soap, basically. And so that drum was beating of lauryl sulfate. So this, you can see the bubbles. You can see that this is a foaming cleanser, so to speak. But we took the soap out. And so that was a big project. And so Melt Away is a gentle, foaming cleanser. Gentle, I'm not going to take my eye makeup off, but I always do. And I'll take it with a little cotton or piece of toilet paper and just remove it. But I really use these I don't know what these are called, but these are fabulous. But these, and I'll show you how to use those in a sense. But I'm also going to show you my Clarisonic. I love my Clarisonic, and I'll explain why. Clarisonic, now I just used my hands, right? And now I'm going to show this to you because I purposely just lightly cleansed my skin last night, purposely, knowing I was going to do this today, because I wanted to show you how just using your hands does not cleanse your skin. Now it'll remove generally things of the day, but it doesn't get into that pore. The health of the skin, guys, is predicated on the health of the pore. Because visualize a pothole. For my we get potholes here. Oh shoot, I didn't show it to you. But you can see the residue on this. And basically, if I just used this, let's say this is a washcloth, and I'll just use this. All you're doing is moving around the debris. That's all you're doing. But if you take a Clarisonic, now I get nothing from Mr. Clarisonic, nothing. But I believe in education. I believe in communication. I believe in correct information. And there are other products out there. This happens to be a Clarisonic, but there are sonic products out there other than this, and maybe less expensive, I'm not sure. But basically, see what it's doing? It's sonically getting into that pore. Now the medium, though, is the melt-away. The melt-away is what I have had on my skin, and so the Clarisonic is helping it to penetrate in and breaking down the sebum, the debris of the day, and helping the hydrating humectant ingredients to penetrate into past the wall and into the dermal layers. So I'm just drying my face, and then the next time, guys, we'll go into step 2 and step 3. But basically speaking, you just pat dry your skin. Now look how hydrated my skin is and how dewy soft and just cleansed. You can just see how cleansed my skin is. Did take off my eyebrow over there, but it's okay. So I just wanted to share, because at this time, you in your homes and you're with your kids, and a lot of your kids are prepubescent as well as early teens. My grandson now is 15, and I remember when he was maybe 12, my daughter said, "Oh my God, he's beginning to break out." And so I sent him, and it was Christmas time, I sent him a Clarisonic, which I think was white, and I sent him these 2 cleansers, because I sent him this cleanser because I knew he would not use both cleansers. And then I sent him one of the step 2s, and I'll explain that quickly on Thursday when we do our next pop-up shop. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it gleaned some information to you to help you understand that just what's the word I want? Going blindly into the grocery store, drugstore, and cosmetic stores, as well as even online. You must be educated. You must understand why. Why would you buy anything? Why would you cleanse your skin? Why would you use certain products? What ingredients should you be looking for? Because honestly, people ask me all the time what my age is. And yes, I have very good genetics in me, that designer gene. But it also is the fact that I have been using these products since I was 42 and have been chemically exfoliating my skin for years. I have been then hydrating my skin with ingredients and antioxidants ingredients that truly do something. So I want you to just know the specifics. We'll highlight this, and people I've mentioned in these, I'm going to start doing that. I do it, but not consistently. So I'm going to start just putting in the information. Shout out to people I've mentioned in these, podcasts, so that you guys can go and be enriched and just filled with their information and wisdom and love and care, because they're not doing it for their own aggrandizement. They're doing it because they care and they want to share. So today, I'm just going to end with this, that do not have a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. And as I said yesterday, the 3 G's, gratitude, it's an attitude. giving, whatever that is. It could be just making pancakes tomorrow for your kids. I don't even know. As I told you yesterday, in my local grocery store, I asked them if I could volunteer to stock shelves, and the manager said that's a lovely gesture, but insurance would prohibit that. But I'm going to figure out some things I can do. I haven't yet, other than communicating with you, and then just goals. Just having goals each day, and that goal could be, as Lisa Copeland said yesterday, get out and walk. It could be, me saying, no, I'm not going to build that bad habit of sleeping till 6. I'm going to get up at 4:15 and watch Rise and Grind and participate with my buddies. And so it's that, gratitude, it's an attitude, it's giving, and it's goals. Just stay in that place and know. Again, I'm going to read this scripture here. That is the quote of the day of Rise and Grind. Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. For the Lord, your God, will be with you wherever you go. He's here with us right now. So I love you. I thank you. Have a wonderful, wonderful, exquisite day. Get outside, walk, hug somebody, and be blessed.